to be a part of a panel discussion today called Let's Talk Sports. And while it is hosted on my pages, I am not the host of this particular show, but I wanted to go ahead and give you guys a few minutes to jump on and to give our moderator and the other guest panelist an opportunity to join so that we can start pretty much at 10 o'clock. So thank you guys for joining me. Many of you who may follow me on, who follow my work on my weekly shows on Chalk Talk. And today's show is going to be a little different. It is going to be 4 of us, 3 panelists and a moderator. And I think that you're going to really enjoy it. I, of course, am looking forward to it. And now we're just waiting for our guest to log in. A few things that have happened since, well, at least I last saw you guys. And the name of this particular panel, as you see on the screen, is called Let's Talk Sports. And so it's going to be a wide-ranging conversation about sports locally, nationally, collegiate sports, some things with HBCUs, and really talk about the climate and the pulse of where things are right now on the sports landscape. Of course, we are in the middle of I guess you could say almost the middle of the National Football League regular season. The NBA season is about to get cranked up again. The Houston Rockets on yesterday announced that they've hired their next head basketball coach. And so we'll talk a little bit about that. Also, the baseball season, some interesting stuff has come out about baseball, and just after they completed the season in the bubble, the successful, there is a World Series champion now. It is the Los Angeles Dodgers, but just the amount of money that baseball lost completing the season in the bubble with no fans, losing concessions, all the other money around baseball other than the television contract. So it's a lot to talk about. And if you are a Houston Rockets fan, be curious to know what you think about the events of over the past 24 hours, where the Rockets have named Stephen Silas as their head basketball coach. He's a first-time NBA coach, but he comes from he has a long, rich history in basketball. Currently, well, until yesterday, when the Rockets officially made him their coach, he was an assistant with the Dallas Mavericks. Prior to that, he spent time with the Hornets. And you may have heard of his father, Paul Silas, who he also worked with. So, one of the things that he's been credited with on that Dallas team is really helping them kick up or amp up, if you will, their offense. And so Dallas averaged 15 3-pointers made last season, marking that the most by any team in history of the NBA besides the Houston Rockets. So I'm curious, can't wait to get a chance to talk with him. So here's a little bit about him. He spent 8 seasons with the Charlotte Hornets, including as their associate head coach from 2017 to 2018. That was before going to the Mavericks in 2018. Before that, he spent 4.5 seasons as an assistant with Golden State from 2006 to 2010. Of course, he also worked with Hall of Fame coach and offensive guru. So he's really known for his offense. Doesn't mean he can't be a defensive coach, but he's really known for his offense. He worked and learned a lot under Don Nelson. And Silas was also on his father's staff. I mentioned Paul Silas in Cleveland during LeBron James's first 2 seasons in 2003 and 2004. So he's also coached camps and clinics around the world to help promote the league and the game of basketball. So he's somewhat of an NBA ambassador, if you will. So a lot to Paul Silas. He graduated from Brown University, where he played basketball. He spent 3 years as the assistant executive director of the National Basketball Retired Players Association. So a lot to Steven Silas. I keep calling him Paul because I remember his dad for so long, but it's Steven Silas who is now the head coach of the Houston Rockets. So I'm waiting for when we'll get a chance to meet him, when he will be introduced to the Houston media and the Houston market. And now the next era of Houston basketball will officially begin. And what will it look like? What style of play will we see? We'll know soon enough, because it looks like they should be getting ready for camp in maybe about a month, because the goal for the NBA has been to try to get the season started by December 22nd. If in fact that happens, that means they're going to have a little bit of preseason. They've got to have some camp. So that means they're going to have to be in camp sometime in November. Although it seems like the season just ended, which actually it kind of just did end. So I know one of the things that there's the other consideration is that the NBA really wants to be able to have fans and not to have a bubble situation. The bubble was very expensive, but also they felt like it was really hard on their players. So we're waiting. There's so many things, so many unanswered questions, if you will, things that we're waiting to see how they will play out. And it's interesting. It's exciting, always excitement. This weekend, there's no talk about the Houston Texans because this is their bye week. So the team is off this week for the bye. They come back next week, and they are on the road for a couple of games before they come home to play the Patriots. So things are happening. The wheels are turning. College football is still chugging along with bumps in the road. Coronavirus is still very much alive and with us. And while we're waiting to get started, I'm going to take this moment to remind you to go vote. If you have not voted yet, then you still do have time. Okay, I see somebody about to join us. Hang on one second. Let me try it again. So our guests are going to join us shortly, and I'm going to resend it. And I'm going to reboot. Okay, so let's see if that. Okay. So what I am going to do is, more than likely, I'm going to reboot. Karen, hold on. I'm going to reboot this so that everybody can join us. And I'm going to end it and start over. Okay.